Well. Good evening, college football fans, Clemson Tiger fans. Thanks again for joining me for another live post-game reaction. I'm going to bring on my co-host here, Jordan Bowman. Jordan, thanks for joining me tonight.
Yeah, thanks, man. Glad to be here. This was a really interesting game. This was one of the games of all time, as they like to say. It was a game that happened.
It was, yeah. We were talking a little bit back room. It was a game that happened. Not exactly sure how to feel about it. It was an okay game. I don't think it's anything where we need to be worried at all. In fact, I think it's encouraging. It's an encouraging defensive performance. I think, like we said before the game, our defensive line got a lot of pressure. Hey, how good was it to see XT out there again, man?
Oh man,
Flying around, making
he
some
looked
plays.
like he never left. He looked
Hey,
like
man,
he never left.
he was on fire, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That's what I've been waiting on all season, man. So it was really good to see him out there and flying around, man. That's a great sight to see. So shouts out to the defense. Honestly, the offense, not a great game. I think they made some good plays. It just wasn't a good performance, but they did enough to win the game, and they moved the ball effectively enough to put up, what was it, 31 points, right?
Yeah.
So not a good offensive performance by any means. I think nobody's walking out of here being like, yeah, that's the offense I want to see, right? But also no need to panic. I don't think. It wasn't our night. There was a lot of things that kind of went wrong on the offense.
Yeah, I'm with you. And before the game, like I had these sneaking fears in the back of my head that it was like,
Yeah.
man, you come off of a big time, physical win, top 10
Two,
win,
two of them,
yeah,
like
two
back
of
to
them,
back.
yeah, back to
Like,
back, two big, division, wins, and then you go up to a kind of, it certainly wasn't a sleepy environment. I think the BC fan base showed out pretty well, but
yeah, looked like it.
it's just kind of one of those matchups. It is like it's easy to go through the motions, especially after you're coming off of a big win, and it seemed like that was kind of what we saw a little bit. Just wasn't a whole lot of fire from especially from the offense. Just a
Yeah,
lot of mental errors. Just kind
a
of
lot.
like I said, going through the motions. But
Kind of looked a little lackadaisical,
yeah,
not a lot of fire on the offensive side.
all right. But they got it together. I mean, they did just enough, and they wore down BC enough, and in the fourth quarter they started they got some chunk plays going.
Yep.
So that was good.
Yeah. And it kind of looked like last week, right? Coming out of halftime, defense kind of started, stepping up the pressure, stepping on the throats of BC, if you will. Really started putting a lot of pressure on Jerkovich, really started to affect them. I know I saw Rook, that dude probably had a lot of disruptions in the second half. I just remember
Yeah,
seeing him
Rook was.
involved time after time. Rook had a really good game, I think. We already mentioned XT. Good to see him out there. I think really it was the defensive line that kind of took over in the second half for the defense and really started ramping up that pressure. And
Yeah.
I think West dialed up some good pressures, and they started to get home a lot more than they were in the first half.
Yeah. Yeah, the defensive line was great. It seemed like everybody, it seemed like everybody on the line, had some kind of big play. Murphy got it. Murphy got in there as well.
Yep.
Trey Williams had a sack.
Yep. Trey Williams had a big one. Yeah.
Yeah. Tyler Davis was disruptive in the run game. He didn't. I don't think he got and he got a couple pressures. I'm pretty sure. So, KJ was still just picking up right where he's left off this year, just being disruptive and getting in the face of the quarterback. The only negative I'd have to say from the first half was, and as people are noting in the comment section, it was kind of it seemed like they weren't as physical. It was they had some trouble getting Jerkovic down.
Yeah.
And Murphy got there once. I know he couldn't bring him down. I know. Actually, Murphy might have got him once or twice and wasn't able to bring him down. I think Henry got in there once.
Yeah. It kind of there's that one where he's standing up and kind of looked like he almost let him go.
Yeah,
it was really weird.
Yeah, he just stopped. He didn't finish. Murphy just didn't finish the play.
Yeah.
That was weird. But they really. I don't know what Dabo or West said in that second half, but they.
They stepped it up.
Yeah, I was proud of the. I was proud of the secondary play. They didn't give up really any big plays for the most part.
Absolutely.
Zay Flowers, if you look at his stat line, it wasn't he wasn't shut down by any means. He got some,
No.
but they didn't let him. They kept him contained. They didn't let him get any huge gains. And so I was really they did a good job of communicating where he was at all times. He never beat anybody over the top, which is what he does really, really well.
Right.
So that was I just think the defensive game plan and the how they played for the most overall, that was a really good performance.
Yeah, defense absolutely played great in the second half, no doubt about it. Again, holding Boston College to 34 yards on the ground. Yep. Another performance by that defense of just refusing to let people run. It's just not an option.
Yep.
Or it wasn't an option for these past 3 teams now that we played. It's not an option to run the ball against this Clemson defense. And it was good to see. And like you say, we didn't stop Zay Flowers. He had 8 receptions for 75 yards. But we didn't let him get into the end zone. We didn't let him really break any huge plays. I mean, Zay Flowers is going to get his plays, but I don't think he ever really took the top off of the defense. At least it never felt that way watching the game. So yeah, I think we can say a lot good about our defense. I think they came to play. They were very focused, and they played a really good game. Let's talk about the offensive side of the ball. What was
Yeah,
going on with Clemson's offense? It looked, in my opinion, it was a lackadaisical performance. They looked out of sync a lot of times. To allude to what you said in the beginning, a lot of procedural penalties, right? Like it seemed like a lack of focus almost on offense. And it felt like we were doing it to ourselves. Like it never felt like Boston College was really stopping our offense in this game
yeah.
for the most part, outside of a few times. It kind of felt like we were just, we just weren't executing to the level that we've seen, kind of the past two games, especially. What do you think was going on with the offense?
Yeah, it was really weird. There were just some really strange. I mean, the players didn't execute that very well tonight, and just the play calling in general. There was just some head scratching moves, and decisions and situationally, uh, that we've. Yeah, I thought Clemson would kind of ironed out last week. I thought I was like, okay, well, in that second half of the NC State game, it felt like um, they were very good situationally, and it just seemed like this game it was just weird personnel decisions. Throwing screen passes to Ngata and
Yeah, like
Inspector, guys that don't they don't get a whole lot of separation. They're not really rack guys. They're not going to get you a whole lot of yards after the catch.
no,
Um, just kind of weird. It felt like the run game it had no kind of identity. There was really no direction there other than that
yeah,
DJ, that huge DJ run in the fourth quarter.
right,
They contained the run game. Um, so it was just a really really mixed bag. The wide receivers, there's some contested balls. A lot of them weren't caught tonight that
yeah,
probably should have. In a couple of them, you could argue were some pass interference calls that weren't, that weren't called. But
absolutely.
yeah, just a really mixed bag. I thought the offensive line and pass protection did pretty well for the most part.
I
They had
think
a
so.
couple lapses in pass, and it wasn't really because the protection itself was dialed up correctly, but someone would just miss like Marcus Tate, like just
Yeah,
completely whiffing. Uh,
missed the block. Yeah,
yeah, just that blitz should have been picked up, and
guy came free
Tate
on
just
that and
yeah
just it was yeah,
yeah just stuff like that. That was yeah, it was really frustrating.
yeah.
But
It was definitely an inconsistent night on the offensive side of the ball. But again, a lot of bright spots.
do
Some
we do we need to talk?
questionable.
Do we need to talk about the well? Speaking of the fourth quarter, the Cade Klubnik sighting that we had tonight was
Yeah, so let's talk about the Cade Klubnik sighting, right? Sighting. He has not been seen since what's the last game he was
Louisiana
seen
Tech.
in? Louisiana Tech. Yeah. Okay.
When
Uh,
Dabo put him in a little early, they
mhm.
went three and out. Then Louisiana
Yes.
Tech scored, and then
Yeah.
Dabo had to put DJ back in.
So a couple back-to-back Cade sightings have happened, and people are saying, there's always an overreaction, right? Some people are saying he looks terrible. I don't think he looked good in either performance, but it was also weird that they brought him in for like two plays and then you never seen him again. What do you think was up with that?
Well, and they had him in, and then had DJ lined up at wideout. I'm like,
So,
why?
so
Like,
was it just a package that they were
yeah, it
running
was a
that
pack,
they
and
have for him?
yeah, and it just didn't. I don't know. It just well, and I do remember Clemson doing that some in 2020.
Yeah, we
I think in
did.
the Miami game actually they did it a couple of times in 2020.
Yeah. Okay.
They had Trevor, they had DJ in and then Trevor lined up at wide receiver, but I don't see what the point is there, and I think the game was a little bit more in hand there when Clemson did it, but in 2020. But it was just a strange, just decision. And then you put him, you run two plays that don't work. Cade, just, I don't know why he keeps trying to bounce outside when on those reads, and
He loves to try to break it outside.
there was nothing there, and when he probably should have cut in and at least gotten a few yards. And then you just put him you put DJ back in at quarterback and on third down, and you just get enough. It was a really strange sequence. And I was like, has Dabo not learned his lesson about doing that? I would have liked it if the game was more in hand, or if Clemson was in closer to BC territory, but they were a little backed up there. So I don't know. This whole game was just really just a huge whatever. Offensively. I mean, they scored 30, so it's not the
we scored. We put up 31 points.
Yeah,
we more than covered the point spread. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good at the same time. It's just kind of, it's kind of a weird performance to kind of talk about. I thought this would be a complete game. I thought, we would play complimentary football. We'd go out there, we'd score, get stops, get in a comfortable position, and then really start rotating some dudes in. But that never really happened tonight, just because of all the miscues and the stuff we've kind of gone through already. What do you think of Boston College tonight? It was the red bandana game. They're honoring Wells. They're doing their big. This is their big emotional game, if you will, to kind of that university and that. So how do you think Boston College's performance was tonight? Jerkovich was under duress the whole game, but I think he played well.
Well, I thought they played pretty hard. Just considering how shorthanded they were, especially offensively. In that first half, they dialed up some plays. They did some rollouts. They did some really good stuff in the play action game to buy Jerkovic some time to throw the ball. I thought that Clemson did a really good job adjusting. They blitzed a little bit more. I thought that was the right decision because they were using a lot of heavy personnel. They had an extra offensive lineman lined up at tight end to get more protection for them. So they did a good job Clemson did a good job of adjusting, but it was what it was. Boston College couldn't run the ball at all, so they were really shorthanded, and when they couldn't, you can't run the ball. You have to pass it 40 times. And I think Jerkovic passed it 40 times and didn't get into the 200-yard mark. So that's like 4 yards an attempt. So you'll take that every day.
That's rough.
Yeah. So, I thought they played really hard defensively. They gave Clemson a lot of issues. Their DBs were, they were shorthanded in the secondary as well.
Yeah, they're pretty physical defense.
Yeah, and they did a good job. I think that they sniffed out a lot of those screens. They blew those up. They were more physical, when they were engaged blocks and stuff. I remember EJ Williams getting blown up like once or twice.
Yeah. And then got his dude blown up on that screen pass.
Yeah. The wide receiver blocking was not very good tonight.
No.
But, other than that big play to Ngata, which was nice to see. That was nice to see. And Ngata actually had a step of separation on him. It wasn't a 50-50 jump ball. It was he just flat out beat his man. That was
drop it in perfectly.
Yeah, that was something.
Right,
it was a great throw by DJ. So that was against their Josh. I believe it was against Josh DeBerry, and that's BC's best corner, arguably. So
it's good.
That was a really they played physical, and Jeff Hafley, he's a defensive guy. He was defensive coordinator at Ohio State before he took the BC job, and he was the defensive coordinator when Clemson played that Ohio State defense in 2019, and that was a very physical bunch, and they gave Clemson trouble, especially in that first half. So he has a lot of experience, considering the last few matchups with this Clemson offense, and he coaches those players really well, and they play physical, very very sound. They don't give up a whole bunch. So I was pretty impressed with Boston College's effort, considering the shorthandedness.
Absolutely. Let's see what some people in the comments are saying. See, it was good to see XT out on the field. Yes, it was.
Absolutely, yeah.
It was great
Did
to
he
see.
get two? Did he get 2 sacks?
I think he got 2 sacks. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 sacks in your first game back, man. That
Hey,
is.
just yeah. What
uh,
broke his foot? What? How long has it been? 7 months? 8 months? Something like that.
no, it hadn't been that long. Yeah. No, because he broke. No, this was he broke it during a fall scrimmage, so
Okay.
it hasn't been that
So,
long.
never mind. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Okay. But anyway, first game back, 2 sacks, can't beat it. See, John Sarangason said Dabo ran the score up. LOL. I don't think he ran the score up, but the sponsor. Did you hear the announcers talking about that last score that Clemson put in?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they
I
were
did.
like, "Oh, I'm surprised they put another score in." What are your thoughts on that?
Well, um, I don't know. I think Clemson needed a little bit more cushion. I didn't hate it. And then, it was nice to
Yeah,
just see the scoreboard change to the 30s for Clemson, because it just, I don't know, just 31-3 just looks a lot different optically than 24-3. Um,
absolutely.
and I think they needed I think this offense needed to have a really, a complete drive put together, because they really only had one other before the game, that big play to Ngata. The other touchdown drive they had uh, was due to short field,
Yeah.
created by the defense at
And
the
we
end of the
are,
first half.
in the era of college football playoff, and they look at stuff like that.
Yeah,
A
style
24-3 win versus a 31-3 win. Um, it just looks better
Yeah,
for your
style
resume.
points are a big deal.
They are a thing.
It's I didn't hate it. I don't know if Halfley was upset about it or not, but um, you'll take it. I'd rather Clemson be, just piss off a couple coaches than to you'll
Mm-hmm.
loaf around, and then all of a sudden all it takes is one play, and the team's back in the game. So um, that's just the era, like you said, it's just the era we're in right now. You got to put up style points, and so they did that, and so it is what it is. And me personally, I didn't, obviously I'm always okay with seeing Clemson score touchdowns,
Yeah,
no matter
absolutely. I wasn't, like I
what
said, I
side.
wasn't mad at it at all. I don't think it. I mean, it didn't appear to be spiteful or disrespectful or anything like that. I don't think that's what it was. Um, I think it was done for a lot of the reasons that we're talking about, and the fact that they were just still running their offense.
Yeah,
Um, we didn't see Cade get back in the game as a quarterback outside of that little package thing they had for him. So maybe it would have looked better if, you know, he would have been the one that scored the 31 or that last touchdown that got us to 31
yeah,
versus DJ, but whatever, man. It is what it is. If that made you mad, then, it whatever. As college football, man, um,
yeah.
points matter at the end of the year when they're looking
Yeah,
at you. Points
you
matter.
can't.
So
I mean, I don't. Maybe probably BC fans are going to be upset or whatever. I don't know. Maybe they
I
are.
I
I
wouldn't think so, but I mean maybe.
I don't know. Maybe, but it is what it is. Oh, and the I was talking about the DJ interception a little bit, because that was,
Okay, yeah.
yeah. I
DJ
don't want to go the
finally
whole.
threw another interception.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was a really poor throw.
yeah.
That was old. That was an old DJ throw right there. He got.
hmm
I mean,
I don't know what that
BC did a good.
was.
BC did a good job of disguising that coverage, because they were, the corner, engaged with the receiver like he was in man, and then just and kind of passed him off at the last second. And when DJ
Yeah,
was trying to throw the out, he just sat in the zone. And then, but you gotta see that there's a body
yeah.
there. You
He
can't.
definitely did not see it at all.
Yeah, he tried to anticipate there, and
Yeah.
it burned him. And he threw off and he had a lot more time. He had more time to process, because Shipley picked up that blitz. He chipped him, which that was probably issue I had is because the defender flipped over Shipley and landed near DJ's feet, and you could tell it kind of spooked him a little bit. And
Yeah.
so he rushed the throw, and when he actually had a lot more time to sit and survey.
Right.
So that was that was unfortunate. That was one of his worst throws of the year, just from because that was he definitely had a lot more time there.
Let's see. Big Mac gets in and says Shipley missed more blocks out there. Blocks than he picked up.
I don't
should
know about
be
that. I
his
thought Shipley
priority
did a pretty good
to
job.
protect his QB. I mean, I think I don't remember him missing a lot, but I mean, you may
I
be
thought
right.
Shipley picked up pretty well.
I mean, I'll go back and watch the game again.
Yeah.
I always usually do on Sundays, but I don't remember him missing a bunch. But maybe he did. We are 6-0, and I bet the AP poll drops us to number 7.
No, I don't know.
I doubt it. I don't think we'll move down. But if we do, luckily at the end of the day, it doesn't matter as long as we keep winning, and we win out. We win the ACC.
There'll be a spot.
It'll work itself out.
Right.
Clemson will have a spot in the Final Four, I guarantee. If that's what the rest of the season looks like. But we got a long way to go before we get there, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. John Sarin gets in, said, friend text that after the game interview, that's all Dabo was asked about. What a joke. I guess they're talking about that last touchdown that we scored.
Yeah. Well, if they have a problem with it, I mean,
whatever, man.
JT Brown does mention special teams. I don't know how we could forget about that. That was probably the worst unit tonight.
Surprisingly, they did get a kick. They did get a block.
Yeah,
they did get a block. So
yeah, they did.
Give them that.
And Antonio Williams had a nice return that set up that touchdown drive.
So
but
they did a few good things. But what concerns you about what you saw out of the special teams today?
I don't want to bag on him too much, but I don't know. I feel like I've seen enough of Will Taylor back there.
Yeah, man.
It just seems like he's just too many mistakes. He's muffed too many of those this year. I think.
Yeah, and I know the guy ran into him, but
the first time he ran into him, but the second time he didn't. There was nobody there. That was an unforced. People running into each other, and that happened on one of Antonio Williams' returns towards the end of the game. Like, I don't know why.
Are we not teaching the lanes you're running down, or I don't know why that that's usually a rare thing that happens. It happens every now and then, but not normal.
Yeah.
But that's
this happened. It happened a few times tonight, and you're just
right.
Like, why are
a weird thing to happen in the same game multiple times?
Right. Why are our blockers running into the return man like that? Whether it's before they catch it or after, it's like you need to have more awareness than that. But
we cannot punt to save our lives.
No, the punting has been really
talking about Swanson.
Yeah, the punting has been really hit or miss this year.
It's been pretty tough.
And it's weird because Swanson was so highly touted coming out, and it just seems like there's not a whole lot of
it's just
not a lot of consistency there.
It's not good.
He had a couple nice punts, and then others it was like.
But for the most part, he does get one off every now and then. I will say that. But for the most part, his usual punt is not good.
Yeah.
His typical punt is just not good.
Yeah. Really makes me miss Will Spires. So
I guess he's the best we have on the team. I don't know. I heard we have a pretty good soccer team. What do you say? There's got to be somebody there that could kick consistently.
I hope when BT's gone, our kicking problems aren't as bad as our punting has been this year.
I know, right? We're pretty spoiled with BT. He missed his second kick of the year tonight? Was that only his second miss, I think? I don't know what he is on the year. Let's see.
It's something like that. But yeah, that was something that special teams was a huge mixed bag. But I did love getting the block kick. That was huge. They did a good job of and they did a good job of getting their hands up and blocking it. But yeah, I don't want to spend too much. We've like gone over all the negatives and stuff.
Yep, we did.
I do. Track Boy does. He mentioned in the comments. He was like, "Have we covered the? Covered ignoring our damn tight ends again all night?" Yeah, that was frustrating.
Yeah,
I think Davis Allen had one catch, and Brenningstool. I don't even think Brenningstool got a target. So, it's like wow. It's like Brandon Streeter and Kyle Richardson. Looked at the NC State film and they were like, "Wow."
They're like, "Man,
we have
what really worked today? Brenningstool and Davis just out there catching balls.
Let's never do that again."
Yeah, let's maybe try something different against Boston College.
Did Florida State? John said Florida State lose. I did see that NC State was coming back. I was afraid that would happen. I know. I saw that Devin Leary went out of the game.
Oh man, sounds like it was a good game though.
Yep, 19-17. It looks like Jordan Travis. His last pass was intercepted. Well,
that's tough. Well, North Carolina State lives to fight another day. But yeah, what were we talking about?
Well, we were bagging on the lack of tight end usage.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was just some of the just peculiar play calling tonight. It was weird at times. I don't know that it made a whole lot of sense.
But hey,
a lot of times. But
6-0.
Yeah, 6-0, 31-3 win.
Never really. Game was never really, you're never in danger of losing the game. So
never felt like we were in danger of losing that game. Right. Felt like we were in control from the start to the finish, although it didn't look good at certain points. It was overall, I think, a solid win, and a lot of coaching points, I think, will come out of that win, and that's a good thing, right? It's better to coach up mistakes while you're winning.
Yep.
It feels good to be 6-0. It wouldn't feel so good if we were 5-1 right now. So
right. So
sounds like Dave smoked a cigar. Yeah, probably. JT.
I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure he's got a cigar and maybe he breaks out the solo cup.
Red Solo cup.
Yeah, the red solo cup.
Red Solo cup and a cigar.
No, but that's a good win for NC State. They that's a good bounce back for them. They've historically sometimes due for a letdown, but that was a tough game. I think their starting quarterback went out and they found a way to win. They were down 17-3, I think, at halftime.
If that's what happened, that's pretty impressive. Yeah. Especially coming off a game that you just played at Clemson and Death Valley with all that hype and a crazy game, and you kind of got handled a little bit, especially towards the end of the game. And then you got to immediately go down to, Florida State. That's a crazy stadium too. I mean, I know they've been down a lot lately, but that's tough.
Yep.
That's two tough environments to go play in.
Yep. What was I? Oh, so you want to? I guess. I mean, we'll talk more about Florida State when we do the pre-game.
ACC show,
yeah,
or the pregame, yeah. We'll talk. Oh yeah, pregame, yeah.
But I'm really interested to see how they play that game. How much was the offensive performance tonight? Just it was just kind of a go through the motions and get out of there with a win type of mentality, or this is what I don't think this is what the offense is. The offense is I think the potential of this offense is really, really high. Higher than we probably
I do
thought.
too.
Yeah,
The thing that I don't like is I don't think I don't like the kind of it wasn't a letdown performance. I don't want to say that at all. Like that's not what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say. But it wasn't. It could have been a lot better. And no, I'm not complaining at all. It's just you don't really want to see those type of games, especially as we're getting to this point in the season. You kind of want to see a lot of more consistency, and I don't feel like they came out with the type of intensity that they needed to. But again, not a bad performance. Kind of a sleepy performance. A
Yeah.
lot of, I mean, we talked about it, but a lot of weird play calls, some interesting decisions by the coaches. So, um, but other than that, I mean, it was, I think it, you know, good as we can be right now.
Yep.
Some drops in the receiving core. Um, that was those were a little back tonight.
Yeah. But, did you see that the Adam Randall? Man, I wanted that throw to Adam Randall. He
Yeah,
got his hands on it. He had to reach. That would have been a hell of a catch. I was like,
that would
oh
have
man.
that would have been that
But
would
you
have been
can
super
see the
cool.
athlete. You can see the ability right there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was pretty crazy.
He's gonna be a good one. He's gonna be a good one. As long as he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
We keep saying that about our freshman receivers, and then somehow like they stay healthy or they stay hurt for the next 2 years. So
Yeah.
hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah. And I do think I will say I do think that if Clemson scores a touchdown on that first drive, Bo Collins doesn't drop that touchdown. I do feel like maybe the offense would have had a little bit more juice, tonight.
Yeah,
Uh, it seemed like after that drop, and settling for a field goal there when you should have had it. I mean, it wasn't like the defender like knocked it out of Bo's hands. He just didn't secure it all the way. Feels like the offense would have played a little bit better. It's clear that this offense has to build momentum and really get roll. It's not like they can just flip a switch and just
right.
put
Yeah,
up 40. That they do need to
they get
they do
better
need
as
to put
things.
together
Yeah,
drives and see some see the ball cross the plane once or twice
yeah.
in a
You
row
can tell
maybe.
they build confidence throughout a game. They build momentum as they're going.
Right.
But let's see. Felt like uh, felt like we were asleep in the first half. Yeah, it definitely did. Did we need to open the playbook against BC?
I
Clearly
don't think
not.
anybody's asking to open the playbook. Just I think situationally there were some things that they did that were kind of head scratching. Some of it was some of it was there were some play calls that were really good and they just weren't
Hmm.
executed, and some it was like why would you call that? I But I don't think anybody's asking Clemson to open the playbook and just
No,
put everything that you have on film. I just
no,
think
but
there were some things
there was some
situationally.
there was some
Um,
questionable, yeah, like you say, situational calls that um, I don't think should have been made. But I hope we start off better next game. So do I. Hope we
yeah,
start off
we'll
faster,
need to.
especially on offense.
Florida State's a little bit more capable, and I mean
Yeah,
they've got injuries as well, but they are in a much better shape than BC is.
I really wish we'd just come out and dominate hard so we can get Cade some playing time in the second half. What if DJ gets hurt? God forbid. Well, if DJ gets hurt, we're probably in some trouble. Um, I don't know if Cade's ready. I don't. Again, we're not at practice. We don't know how he looks in practice. It would be nice to be getting some blowouts and be able to get the depth, some work, some significant snaps. But honestly, it just hasn't been in the cards. Especially these, Wake Forest game and the North Carolina State game. We knew that wasn't going to happen. So trust in Dabo. It's clear the reason we won 2 titles. Look what his assistants are doing.
I mean, no one's saying that we don't. In DKT, yeah, he's kind of going off in the chat right now.
Yeah,
We're not. Nobody's saying that we don't trust Dabo or anything.
right.
There's room for criticism. It's not. This team did not play particularly well. They did not play up to what we know they can play. I mean, we know how talented the guys on this roster are.
Yeah,
And there were things that they didn't do tonight that. If you want to be where you ultimately, if you want to be in the playoff, if you want to be able to compete for a national championship, you gotta do those things better. So it's not a we don't trust Dabo or anything like that. And, there's just there's room for there's room for criticism.
Yeah.
It's constructive. We're not putting down anybody or
No.
saying this player sucks or anything like that. It's just
Absolutely not.
It is what it is. There's things that can be done that are better.
I mean, our goal is playoffs and beyond, right? That's typically, Clemson's preseason goals, at least on a fan side of it, I think. And we're talking about, getting better for that when that time comes. I think we're doing just fine. We'll keep winning ACC games, even if we keep playing like that. But that's not the end goal. Let's see what else we got here. Some Streeter hate in the chat. You see this? Some people saying Streeter's fine. Some people saying Streeter's not.
Yeah, I'm not on the. I'm not a Streeter hater.
I'm not hating on Streeter either. I think we've already said that we didn't like some of the calls tonight. But by no means does that mean I'm out on Coach Streeter. I think he's done. I think he's done fine.
Yeah, when Jeff Scott, when it was Jeff Scott and Tony Elliott, there were plenty of
plenty of games
where you were like, well, okay, what are we doing here?
Right.
And then there were games where they looked good, and you saw it's like, okay, well, when they get in their rhythm and they get in their bag, as far as play calling is concerned, they look really good. And
the same guy.
I don't think Streeter's any different.
Yeah, the same guy calling plays tonight was the same guy calling plays against North Carolina State and Wake Forest too.
Yeah.
So we'll be okay. It wasn't a great game. That's all we're saying. It wasn't a great game. No need to hit the red panic button. No need to talk about any sort of coach not getting his job done, because it's way too early on both of them, and I don't think they've done anything to warrant
right
that kind of sentiment from any fans, really. Hunter gets in, says we're not going to win another title with his play calling. Well,
we don't know that.
We'll see. We'll see. Stop worrying about dominating, weaker opponents and looking good. No one in the ACC is beating Clemson.
You might be right about that, but there's a school of thought that the sign of a really, really good team is beating the team soundly that you're supposed to beat soundly.
Right.
I don't think Clemson, because Clemson won 10 games last year, but they won a lot of one possession games. Was that team was, would you have said that last year? Like, say we didn't play Georgia, but the overall team was still the same. And then we're going into the NC State game knowing we just came off of a 14-8 win over Georgia Tech. Would you say, oh, no one's going to beat us? Because it was, that team was not. I mean, that team wasn't bad by any objective means, but just as far as the ability of the talent level, they should have played a lot better last year, and they didn't for a lot of reasons. So doing things that making it look easy against the teams it should look easy against is the sign of a good is a sign of a good team.
Yeah.
And I thought in defensively they did make it look easy for most.
Yeah, no.
They played really well.
I think we did enough tonight. It just wasn't. There's room for improvement. That's it. Room for improvement. Nothing more, nothing less. FSU got beat by a backup QB with 0 passing yards.
Yeah, I saw that. I
Is
tried to
that
find his
true?
stats, and I was like, he
Is
didn't.
that true?
Yeah, that's true.
No.
I tried to find his stats, and it was like, oh
Oh
wait, no,
man.
that he just has rushing stats.
Good God. How long did
Oh
he
no, he threw
play?
one pass. He threw one pass. Chambers is his name. He's a really mobile guy.
Did he play? How much did he play?
He played most of the second half. A lot of the second half.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
he ran the ball 7 times for 39 yards. That's a hell of a win for NC State. Yeah, apparently the Florida State's offense kind of. I mean, Jordan Travis threw 2 picks. And that was something that that was something I worried about with Florida State going into that game. Is I was like, man, are they good? They weren't really as equipped. They're not really as equipped offensively to deal with how physical NC State is. And I guess that kind of bore itself out. They got up on them early, and then NC State just. Florida State's offense stalled out, and NC State just kept chipping away at the lead. When I was looking, I think they scored a touchdown, and then they scored 3 field goals, but stopped Florida State on every single drive in the second half. So, John Sarian makes a good point. NC State winning makes our win look better. So there's that. Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
FSU is decent. Yeah, they do. You're gonna have to contain them. Toafili and Benson and Ward. Yeah, they have some. They have a three-headed monster probably. Guys that can break one on you if you're not.
Yeah.
Sound. But I feel good.
I feel good about our defense.
Especially against their offensive line. I don't expect a whole lot of holes.
We haven't allowed a whole lot of rushing yards. I don't expect that to change very much.
That's been the best, most consistent aspect of the team all season is the run defense. It's nobody's been able to run on Clemson this year.
Nope.
I think the best rushing performance anybody's had was Wake Forest, and I think they ran for 110, but on like 40 carries. So
right,
it was like 2 yards, 2
terrible average. Yeah. Yeah, Hunter XT got 2 sacks.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Absolutely.
It's so great to see XT
Good
back. It looks like he never left. Clear the. And it makes me happy they didn't rush him back because we want to see. I mean, obviously the defensive line has played really well without him, and now it's just as long as those guys stay healthy. I don't know of any front right now that offensive line that's especially within the conference that's going to be able to hold up.
Yep. JT, I'm a Clemson homer. I love my Tigers, but they need to be more consistent. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
I think
this team is building
in the right
up
direction. Yeah. I think we're a team right now that gets a little bit better. Every week you can see growth in this team. Not that we play our best game, every week. Obviously, this was not our best game, especially on offense. But I think you can see a progression throughout Clemson season, and you're not seeing that with every team. So
right.
I think it's okay. We can all be honest and say this is not a national championship team right now.
But we know they have the ability.
But judging by how much better they are versus Georgia Tech, till now in the season when we're 6-0. There's a big difference, right? So carry that out through a whole season. If we continue to get better, we might just be a national championship team by the end of the season when the time comes to actually play the game. So,
and it was good that there weren't really any injuries of note tonight that I can think of.
Yeah, that was one of the big keys we wanted to get out of the game, right? No major injuries, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Looks to be that happened. We even got a nice early Christmas present. We got to see XT for the first time this season, and he did not disappoint.
Yeah.
DK says Clemson has the best resume.
They still, well, I mean, they're still the only team as far as I know with 2 top 15 wins. So, Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue. I don't know why we didn't jump Michigan last week, but it is what it is. I don't really get hung up on the rankings too much. If it's not the college football playoff rankings.
John Saring gets in, not to be a downer, but watching on the field, it looks like EJ is just checked out. Is anybody?
If anybody transfers in December,
okay,
probably
yeah.
I
don't know.
I want to hold out hope, but yeah, he hasn't really shown up.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he transferred, but I hope not.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me, but I still, I want to believe that he's, there's room, there's a place for him with this offense, and you got to think it's like he hardly played last year,
mm-hmm.
And he could just be behind. I mean, he's a junior as far as how long he's been here, but he hasn't played a ton. I mean, he flashed a lot towards the end of his freshman year, but
and that's the last time he really played, right?
But last year he was hardly able to get on the field. He was just in and out of the lineup with injuries. So I don't know. Maybe he is checked out. I don't want to speculate on that.
Yeah, I don't either. Jared gets in, makes an interesting observation. Said he looked like he was scared of contact out there. It may be, when them injuries really start piling up, and things like that happen, and every time you go out there, somehow you nick a new thing or get a new injury. That can probably shake your confidence.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't. He doesn't trust it. Maybe he doesn't trust himself or trust.
He may be completely fine physically, and mentally just fighting that fear of getting hurt again. That's a possibility. I don't think that would be crazy. I couldn't blame him, honestly.
But
Byron Days gets in and says, "Ain't we? Nope. Ain't we the number one team in the red zone?" I think so.
Yeah, we.
If not, we got to be close.
Scoring, as far as scoring,
scoring in the red zone.
Yeah, I think we scored every time we've gone to the red zone. So, I mean, that's a great stat.
I mean, we may be tied with somebody. I don't know if there's somebody else out there perfect in the red zone, but we're definitely tied for the top spot. That's for sure. Last I saw, we were the number 2 defense. I don't know about that.
Maybe sure. I don't know. Maybe I mean, if you were able to take the Wake Forest game out, we'd probably be up there. I don't.
Yeah.
I think. Well, after this performance, I think Clemson's creeping up the rankings. I do think this defense is certainly one of the best in the country, even if the stats don't necessarily reflect it. But they played lights out tonight for the most part. So I'd have to look. But it could be.
Happy to be 6-0 at this point, considering the chaos around us. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This 31-3. Complaining about negatives, and a 31-3 win is better than complaining about the negatives if in a 17-14 upset loss or something.
Right. Yeah. All constructive criticism, all good problems to have, if you will. Right. Being able to critique a performance after beating a team like that, it's always a privilege to be able to do that.
Philip, I like Philip's question.
This one right here.
Yeah, 2015 was kind of. Because 2015, Clemson opened with what was it, App State, and they took they played really well, took care of business.
Yeah.
But in some ways, I kind of see what Philip's saying. They kind of have some elements of the 2015 team and the 2016 team.
Yeah.
Because the 2016 team started really slow.
The 2016 team, and Dabo said it in interviews before. those dudes just wanted to like fast forward to the national
Yeah,
championship.
Dabo was like, I want.
And
Dabo like talked
it
about how he wanted
showed.
to strangle them. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
it showed
they
in
loafed
certain
around.
games.
Deshaun Watson did not. He started really slow. I remember that close game with Auburn and just some really the Troy game. Those were some really lackluster
Yeah, man.
performances.
It was like, man, bro, did we and then we rolled right through the the playoffs. So,
Which I mean, I hope this team doesn't emulate 2016 as in as in losing to Pitt or having that
yeah,
kind
no,
of
no,
loss.
no. No, we don't need anything like that.
Right.
No funny business, Clemson. No funny business. Don't do that. Zach says we didn't really look dominant till the end of the year. Yeah,
Yeah.
that year definitely was. We looked great in the end, but
Yeah.
it was
That
painful getting there.
56-7 win over South Carolina. I was like, okay, yeah, this
Yeah,
team is.
okay. Now we're getting ready. Yeah,
Yeah.
now they're paying attention.
But the only thing is what separates this team from that 2016 team is obviously the 2016 team was coming off of falling just short of the national championship the year before, and they were just kind of they kind of they bought into their own hype a little bit, and they were like, oh, we're good, we're going to be right back there, and they didn't prepare and play as well as they should have at times, but
Absolutely.
but this team obviously can't do that because they haven't earned any. There wasn't anything they earned last year.
Right. Yeah.
Anything to warrant that kind of confidence, at least.
No, not even close. Go Tigers. It's not always pretty, but a 6-0 start to the season, 10 times out of 10. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Any team in the country would be happy to be sitting exactly where we're sitting right now.
And only one score game. This team is,
they're taking care of business.
Right. They're not letting teams hang around. It's not like we're not sweating it out at the end of the game. It's just they're some slow starts and times where they sputter. That's what if that's all you're complaining about, that's a pretty good thing, all things considered. So
100% this year's teams having to prove everything as they should.
Right.
They have not earned a single thing. We cannot start this slow next week. This will be FSU's Super Bowl.
Maybe.
It might be.
I don't know. They're kind of reeling right now.
Yeah, they're reeling, but I certainly don't want to start this slow next week. I would much rather get a few quick scores in and settle down into the game. What you got?
Yeah, FSU has no longer anything. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we saw a spirited effort from FSU next week, but they're kind of like they're kind of like BC. They're beat up in areas where that you can't afford to be beat up when you're playing Clemson. They've lost a couple of starters on the offensive line. There's some guys out on defense that some huge impact, big impact players on defense. But it'll be interesting. We'll see how the Mike Norvell. You're starting to see the culture kind of come to fruition there. So I mean, we'll see how they respond because they've lost in back-to-back weeks. So how does Florida State respond? Because they start out 4-0 and you drop two games that two big division games, and now you're having to play a third in a row.
Yeah, now you're staring down possibly another loss.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that could be demoralizing.
It'll be absolutely, especially how the season was trending. It could be. So it'll be interesting to see how the coaches kind of get them up. FSU isn't beating Clemson. Well, I would tend to agree.
Yeah. I feel good about a win next week. We'll see how by how much is
FSU season will be on the line next week. We better play 4 quarters of football. Yes, each time we play, that's what we should be striving to do.
Yeah.
Norvell will empty out the playbook. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. Look, they're going to give us everything they got. They're definitely not going to hand it to us. That's for sure. Uh, any thoughts on Brent returning to Clemson after OU dumps him? I think it's a little early to talk about Brent being dumped by OU, and then also, yeah, I don't think that's a realistic possibility anytime soon.
Hey, I mean, if it were to happen, I wouldn't mind it. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
I wouldn't be
I
like,
would.
no, don't hire Brent Venables again. Obviously,
Yeah, especially
uh,
if he wants to come back, it'd
yeah,
be
I'd be
fine with
like,
me.
hey,
But
sorry, Wes, but you got to.
yeah.
Thanks for holding it down, brother.
Um, but I mean, yeah, or I mean, even if Dabo doesn't want to demote West, the defensive analyst Brent Venables doesn't sound bad.
It doesn't sound bad at all.
Who knows?
Doesn't
But
sound too bad. Let OU keep paying
Dabo
him.
starts his own coaching rehab program that like Saban does.
The
Uh,
Dabo Sweeney coaching rehab program. Yeah,
yeah, but no, I want I want Brent Venables to succeed there, and I think right now it's just a tough situation. They did lose a lot of guys in the offseason, during the coaching transition. Um, just Brent doesn't have his guys in right now. I'm
yeah,
not ready to write the book on him. This could just be one of those tough seasons where you got to weed out some of the guys that don't mesh with your culture and what you're trying to do there, and bring in the guys that buy in. And so that's that I don't want to say that Brent Venables is going to follow the same track as Dabo, but Dabo didn't it wasn't all roses and sunshine when he started. There were some trials and tribulations. So, and I think Brent is going through the same thing, and he's a first time head coach. I mean, I think some people forget that, but he's a first-time head coach. There are things as experienced as he is, and as he's been around he's coached under three different Hall of Fame or future Hall of Fame coaches, but nothing simulates the real thing when you're actually in control of the program, and when it's your everything reflects back on you, and you're responsible for everything that happens within your program. It's a different thing. I mean, there's
yep.
there's no practicing for it, so you don't
It's not easy, man.
you only get better through experience. So
Yeah, everybody thinks it's easy to be in charge until everybody's looking to you for all the answers. We owe FSU a home whipping for that 2020 COVID year.
that's right, Philip.
Yeah, that's
Duck
right. How many
Dusty
times
team.
are we going to see that video this week?
Yeah, probably some. Probably quite a few.
Oh yeah. That'll be a story this week. At Dabo talking to FSU. Honestly, if OU dumps Venables, that would be a dumb move on their part.
I
I
agree. I
agree.
mean, he's got a really good
Give him,
recruiting class put
give him
together right
time.
now, and just, I mean, if you're only going to give a guy one year on the job, what high profile coach, like, who are you going to hire? Who's going to want to take?
Yeah,
You got to give it time.
right. You bring a dude home, right? And Brent Venables, there was like a homecoming for him. At
Yep.
least that's what he was saying. You bring a guy like in like that, and then get rid of him in or after his first season. Come on, like,
Yeah.
no, I don't think so. I think there's a 0.0000% chance of that happening. Travis says FSU seems to start fast and taper off in the second half. We seem to be doing the opposite up to this point. I hope we play a complete 4 quarters. If Clemson walks away with a 10, if we do, Clemson walks away with a 10+ point win. Yeah, we'll get into all that in the preview. Save some of that. All right, guys. Jordan, you got anything else for the game? Anything else you want to cover? Anything we may have missed or didn't talk about?
Not yeah. I think we've covered pretty much everything. And we've exhausted all our issues.
Yeah.
And then and all the and we did talk positive. I know there were a couple of people in the chat saying, "Oh, all we're doing is complaining." I'm like, no, it just we're trying to give a holistic,
Yep.
overview of how the game played out. There are things that by no means am I disappointed or upset with this win.
No.
This
I don't know how you could be.
yeah, this is way more preferable than the alternative. This game could have played out a lot different if if they played worse, if they had played a lot worse. So um, there and nothing. I didn't come away from this game like concerned about anything or like, oh, this is going to be a detriment to us going forward. It's just no, they're just things that are that need to get better, that I believe will get better, and so that's all you can say.
Yep.
But it is still important to talk about it. So I don't want to be when neither one of us are like negative Nancy's and just
No, I don't
nothing
think
this team
so.
does
No.
nothing this team does is good enough. It's just that when your moniker is best is the standard,
That's it, man.
you want to come out and do your best, and the only way to do your best is to identify what you're not doing
Right.
the best at. So
Right. This is a very good team. I'm very happy with the product that's been put on the field so far. But like you say, there's always room for improvement, and we want to keep improving because we have bigger goals than winning the division and the conference. We have bigger aspirations after that, although those are very important as well and essential to the rest of our goals and aspirations. But great win by the Tigers. Another W for our Clemson Tigers. We now start the season 6-0.
bowl eligible, baby.
Bowl eligible already. Suck on that Gamecock. But yeah, another good win for the Tigers. A lot of things we can do better, but a lot of positives coming out of this game, namely no major injuries that I can think of. Hopefully we don't get any bad news in the next couple days of something that we didn't notice or hear about during the broadcast. But with that said, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Clemson Tigers post-game show here on the Voice of College Football. Me and Jordan both, thank you guys for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so that you get notifications. We do 2 shows a week. We do the pregame show that is on Fridays at 5 o'clock, previewing the upcoming matchup for Clemson. And then we also do a live postgame reaction every week, immediately following the Clemson game. So come join us, get your thoughts, concerns, gripes, moans, complaints, or praise out in the comment section. And we try to get to as much of it as we can. So see you guys next time. See you on Friday.
Later, y'all.